What's up, Fanout crew? Brian here today with a quick tutorial video. This video is going to walk us through updating code via a USB stick on your Spike 2 Stern pinball machines. This update process will work for multiple games. We're going to be doing it on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Premium machine today. But this process should work on any Spike 2 Stern game. So that's going to be games like Star Wars, Avengers Infinity Quest, TMNT, Batman 66, Elvira, Mandalorian, Deadpool, Jurassic Park, Iron Maiden. The list goes on. Stern has put out many games on this platform so far. I don't know if this process will work on the new Stern Insider connected machines that have Wi-Fi built in. It may, but I've not actually gone through this process myself on one of those machines. But to be honest, if you've got Insider connected set up, you can very easily update over Wi-Fi, so you don't need to do this anymore, assuming you have internet, which probably if you can afford a pinball machine, you have internet. So anyways, like I said, we're going to be walking through this today on my Ninja Turtles Premium, which is basically bolted to the floor. I know it's not the best game in the world, but it's a dream theme for me. It was my first pin, and it's what got me into the hobby as far as like collecting my own games goes. So without further ado, let's get started. So just to set some baselines, I'm working on a Windows 10 desktop environment here. These instructions should be pretty similar for most versions of Windows. If you need to install this and update using a Mac computer, I'm sorry that, but this video it might be helpful to at least point you in the right direction of what you need to do. But yeah, I'd suggest if you're using a Mac and you need help, I'm sure there's plenty of videos out on YouTube that can help you with that as well. So to get started, first thing we'll need to do is obviously you need a USB storage stick capable of storing I want to say it's about an 8 gigabyte file, so you probably want to have at least a 16 gigabyte USB stick. You can get those pretty cheap at Walmart. I think I have a SanDisk, but you know, any cheap storage device with 16 gigs will work. So to go get the update files, first thing I recommend doing is actually going to sternpinball.com. As you can see here, if you go to the support section at the top right, there's a game code menu you can go to. So I'm going to select that. You can see here this brings us to a list of update game code files and also README files. These README files I also recommend at least reading through. I also like to save a copy of them, but these README files will give you a preview of what exactly the code update is doing with your game. So it'll talk through any new modes or adjustments that they've made or fixes they've made. You can sort this by game. So if you click on all games, you can sort through this entire library of Stern games, which is pretty lengthy. So just as an example, I'm going to go to TMNT, which I think is under Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that's going to filter this full list to their recent updates. So I'm working on a premium. So tip number one, make sure you're downloading the correct model for the game code. So you can see here like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Pro 1.51 game code. Well, I've got a premium, so I don't want the Pro code. So if I look down a little further, there's a premium game code and then also an LE game code. Typically the LE and premium code sets are the same, but not always. My understanding is that there's some slight differences in some of the older Spike 2 games between the premium and LE. So anyways, look for your game model. Trying to install Pro code on a premium machine is going to introduce issues that you don't want to deal with. So to download the README file, I like personally, so I have a folder set up on my internal network. I keep a folder for every arcade game I own, including pinball machines. So you can see here I've got 23 games or game boards. Not all of these are full machines, but I keep a folder for TMNT. So in here, I've got all of the update files I've ever downloaded for this game, along with the readmes for those. That way, if I ever need to reference it, for some reason, a certain site is down or something happens and their website doesn't exist 20 years from now, I've got all this old code. Knock on wood. So let's go ahead and download the README file first and take a look at that. So we want the Ninja Turtles Premium Game Code README download file. All of their links in this page are going to have you agree to an end user license agreement. I'm not going to read through this, but that's okay. So with the readmes, it'll say download game code still, but it's actually just going to bring you to a text file. This is where it'll have all the game fixes. Like, we fixed this in this version. We added all this functionality. We tweaked this stuff. We updated some node board firmware, and then it'll go into the further updates. So very useful. To actually download it, though, I found that the download file name is not very honest, because it doesn't actually prompt you for a download. It just opens it in your browser, for me at least. So to download it, I'm going to click on download file again. And this time when you get to the agree code, I right click on the download game code button and then save link as. And then it will prompt me for where I want to save it. And you can see I already had this for Godzilla, so I'm going to go up a folder, go down to my TMNT folder, and save it here. And you may also notice, like, you saw I clicked on the premium listing, but it's listing it as LE in the file name. That's because the game code between the premium and LE of Ninja Turtles is exactly the same, so they're actually interchangeable. So now we've got our README downloaded. I'm going to actually go get the download, or the game code. So we're, again, on premium 1.51, download file, download game code. It's going to prompt you where to save it. And again, you could save this anywhere you want on your computer. You may or may not be as OCD as I am with your organization. Just make sure you pay attention to where you're actually saving it to, so you know where to go find the file for future steps. So make sure you pay attention to that. I'm going to save it in my TMNT folder. All right, download started. So while that is downloading, let's go ahead and bring up our folder. So I've already plugged in my USB drive, which defaulted to D drive. I named it Pinball for myself, just so it's easier to spot when I'm doing this. But before moving any files to this drive, make sure it's cleared and formatted. So that there's not any additional files on here that may conflict with what you're trying to do with the Stern game. And this file's almost done. But you can see here, here's the README file that we downloaded earlier. So in this update, like I showed, they're doing quite a bit of fixes, which I'm really excited about. They've been pushing out a lot of updates again on this game lately. And some new things added for extra ball and some other speech effects. It's very cool. All right, looks like our download finished. So this is the Turtles LE. Like I said, it's the same code for the premium, so don't let that shock you. So this is the 1.51. So I'm going from 1.50 to 1.51. So what I recommend here, I have a couple different programs installed to manage zip files, but I think on this computer I'm using WinRAR. So if you have WinRAR installed, and again, you don't have to use that. You can use 7-zip or any other zip management software that you're comfortable with. But with WinRAR, it makes it very easy because you can right-click on the file and you can either extract it here and it'll put the contents of that file in the same folder, or you can extract it to a folder of the same name, which is what I'm actually going to do. So we're going to extract to Turtles LE 1510 SPK/. And depending on your computer, this may take a minute. It is a large file. Newer computers will definitely do this faster than older. I'm also doing it off of a network drive, which slows things down a bit. But either way, this should only take 1 to 2 minutes. And you can see here the other version other reason why I like to actually hold on to all this code is it actually makes it easier for me to spot like which version I'm on just by looking at the latest here. So while that's refreshing, I'm going to actually refresh this folder, and we can see this new folder is here now with the same name as our zip file we downloaded. So I'm going to open that folder, and eventually there will be 2 files here. Yep, there's the second file. All right, we're done unzipping. All right, so now I normally recommend having your folder with your files open on the left and your USB drive open on the right. Then you want to simply highlight the 2 files that you just unzipped, right-click and copy, and then go over to your USB drive and paste. And again, depending on your computer, it might take a moment to move things over, but it should be pretty quick. These files aren't huge. It's actually that's about 2.5 gigs probably, so this is a smaller size update. You could actually get away with like an 8 gigabyte USB drive for this one. Now, when you do this as well, one of the things I've seen a lot of people do, like even outside of Pinball, is anytime you're using a USB drive, you'll notice, at least in newer versions of Windows, and I think even going all the way back to XP, I want to say they had an icon for this, but you'll notice this little USB looking icon at the bottom right that says safely remove hardware and eject media. You always want to make sure when you're ready to unplug your USB drive that you properly dismount it. Otherwise, you could corrupt the files here. And the last thing you want to do is corrupt these files, and somehow your Stern game lets you install it anyways, and then you start having weird behavior in your game, and you've got to do it over again. So now that we've copied those 2 files over, I'm going to close out of these folders. We don't need it anymore. Now we are going to safely eject that USB. Eject. It's going to tell you you're now safe to remove that hardware. So now I'm going to reach up and unplug it. I'm actually, just as reference, I'm using this PNY 32 gig USB 3.0 drive. I've used this for a couple of years now and had really good luck with it. But it's nice too. The USB is retractable for when you're traveling with it, so it's very safe for you to pull that back and then throw it in your pocket or your toolbox or whatever it is you need to do. I try to have this dedicated one for my pinball machines because I know it works with them, but I could definitely recommend this PNY drive, which you can get on Amazon for pretty cheap. I think Walmart sells a similar one also for cheap, so not too hard to find these days. So I think we're done with the computer part of this update. We'll skip forward a little bit and have a different camera set up. I apologize in advance. All of my tripods and stuff I normally use to record are still in storage, so we're going to be recording the next bit with my cell phone. So I apologize in advance again if it's a little jittery or not as professional, but I wanted to get some new content out to you guys. So just bear with us, and I'll talk to you guys in a second from the other camera. All right, guys, Brian back. Again, I apologize for the quality of this. I'm having to use my cell phone. Most of my recording equipment is still put up. But now we're going to get to the actual update phase of this video. So step one, if you've got multiple games, they may be in a lineup. So the first thing you'll want to do is actually pull your game out to where you can get into the back box. So I've pulled this game out already. So next thing, we're going to find your keys and open this up. Let's see if I get the first key correct. Nope. Means it'll be this key. So be careful when you're doing this. You do not want to drop your translite, obviously. It sits in a little groove, but you always do want to be careful. I'm going to actually set the phone down for a moment. All I'm doing is lifting the translite out of the game. I'm just going to leave it here on Godzilla. But you'll see the back glass actually rests in a channel here. There's a little notch there that holds it in, and it goes up into the top, so that keeps it secure. But what we're looking for today to do this update, this Spike 2 board set from Stern is what most of their modern games run on, but I've got my USB stick. All we're going to do is actually place it here in this USB slot. I don't think it actually matters which one, but I'm just doing this one in the center of the board. There's two there paired up. I'm doing the rightmost one. Next thing you're going to want to do is actually, if you haven't already, actually take your key out of that glass. You're going to want to go ahead and open your coin door because we will need to get into the menus and be able to navigate them. So we're going to open this up. And you'll see here, whenever I'm saying press up or down, I'm talking about the down volume button and the up volume button. Navigate the menus, and this menu black button here will select the actions we're going to do. So now that we've got our USB in, actually did forget a step here. We want to go ahead and close the speaker grill back up so that we can see the menus. So we will leave that like so, and then go ahead and turn your game on. And the game should automatically bring us to an update menu. Very exciting, right? Now, this may take a minute to start up, but it normally will give you a few options here. So you can pick between updates. I think that's so that if you have multiple update files on one drive, which is possible, you could select between which version you want to install. For our purposes today, we are installing that 1.51 for the LE, and this goes back to what I mentioned earlier. If you've got a premium LE game, make sure you're installing the correct code. Do not install Pro code on a premium game and vice versa. So we're going to hit the black button I mentioned earlier, right here. All right. Then that's going to give you some more options. Update quick, verify no. You can choose use the minus and plus volume buttons to pick between different options here, and then press that black select button to update. I've always just left it here to the default setting of do a quick update, and I don't care about verifying. I'll know if there's an issue because the game won't work right. But I will go ahead and press the volume buttons just so you can see there's a full option, then quick with yes, full with yes, and then back to quick and no. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it on quick and no. and then press select, and then we'll do a time-lapse video of the actual install. Alright guys, that took about 6 to 7 minutes probably to go through that update process. You can see now it says the game code update was successful, update complete, remove USB memory stick and power cycle game. So normally what I like to do, I do not like removing anything from this board while it's powered on, so I'm going to switch it off using this switch here. Alright, now that that's off, we're just going to gently remove this. Again, this was the PNY 32, if it'll focus, 32 gigabyte stick with the retractable head there. Alright, normally before I put anything with the translate back in, we're actually going to close up the coin door here. Let me get the keys back out. And lock that back up. Before I put the translate in, I like to just make sure things are working. So let's turn this back on. Sometimes you may end up getting an additional update when you turn it back on. And sometimes it'll also do the node board firmware updates after this power cycle. So let's see if we get one today. If you're wondering about these twirling lights here, this is a kit from speakerlikekits.com. I installed this was like the first mod I've ever done on any of my arcade games or pinball machines, but updated to Kenwood speakers and then got everything else for the installation kit from speakerlikekits.com from Doug. And these lights have programmable, like it comes with a little remote so you can change the colors and stuff, but everyone seems to love those lights. Alright, we are getting the node board update. The reason why I like to shut the door before doing the power cycle is this node board update cannot run if the power to the playfield is turned off, which is off by default when you have the door open. Alright, so it looks like things are resetting. It dropped the balls. It should refill the turtle van automatically. Should end up with 3 balls in there. I've got pin stadiums in this game too, so the playfield's nice and bright, and I've got a nuclear cup holder as well. But that's it for as far as doing a firmware update. I'm just going to hit start and make sure things flip.
Choose your title.
So we've got flippers.
Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo.
Cool. I'm going to turn this off so we don't get DMCA. Last step is going to be putting the translate back in, so I'm going to do that now. It's always the wrong key. CV. We've got a 50-50 shot, and I get it wrong every time. Alright, and I'm actually going to try to do this with one hand so you guys can kind of see. So when you're putting your translite back in, you can put it in at an angle like this and then just go all the way up with it. When you do that, it should be able to just sort of snap back into place there. And you can see it's got a little lip in the corner on both sides for it to rest on, and the top is actually above in the cab in a channel, so it'll hold it in place. You can cut this back up, pull out, and then you're back in action. So that's how you update your Stern pinball machine on the Spike 2 system. Not much to it really, just a little bit of patience. Once you do this once or twice, it's second nature. But it looks like we're in action. Thanks for watching. Again, I apologize for having to use my cell phone for this, but it's the best I've got at the moment with the house under construction. I'm going to be doing a couple of mods in the near future with installing some art blades in TMNT, and then I've got a shooter rod, pin monk stuff, a rooftop mod for Godzilla. So I've got a few different things going on. I'll try to get those filmed over the next week or two and get some more content out to you guys. But like, subscribe, click on the bell so you get notifications when I do updates in the future. We'll try to get back to a normal podcast routine within the next week or two. But in the meantime, I can at least do these install videos on my own. Thanks, guys, and have a good weekend.